Hey everybody, welcome back to Tuesday Bingo, where we are working hard to help you connect with your destination better. For today's video, we have surveyed over 100 people to figure out the top 10 foods of Costa Rica. The number 10 spot goes to a sauce called Salsa Lizano. This sauce was first made in Alajuela in 1920 and has been crushing the Costa Rican condiment game ever since. This thin, smooth brown sauce gets compartmentalized into the same sauce category as like your A1s and your Worcestershires. You can find this sauce on kitchen counters and dinner tables alike, as it's really meant to be used two ways. Incorporate it into recipes to really get the flavor in there, or use it like ketchup and just coat all your favorite foods with it. Flavor-wise, it has a slightly sweet taste and leans acidic. The sauce's flavor-giving ingredients include sugar, salt, onions, carrots, cauliflower, cucumber, mustard, and turmeric. Try figuring out what that tastes like. I've never had this before, and I couldn't figure it out either. Good luck. Ticos, or the people of Costa Rica, will use this sauce on a number of different things, like eggs, tamales, rice, fish, cheese, or even as a marinade. It's a one-size-fits-all condiment and leaves people wanting to return to Costa Rica just to taste it again. The number 9 spot goes to the sweet and juicy stone fruit that we call the mango. Now let's get this out of the way. Generally, when you go to the grocery store, you will see two different varieties of mango. One kind that comes from India, and then the others come from more southeastern regions of Asia. For the sake of this video, we're gonna be focusing on the mango with Indian origin, because that's the one that's more common in Costa Rica. Now think about this. The two options were either India, which is Southern Asia, or Southeast Asia, which is Southeast Asia. How did they get to Costa Rica? It was a pretty long journey for the tree. You see, mango trees were brought into Africa by traders in the 9th and 10th centuries. Then they were brought to Morocco, which is Northwest Africa, in the 14th century. From there, they were brought to Brazil in the 16th and 17th centuries, and then to the Caribbean and Latin America in the 18th century. When ripe and ready to eat, they are gonna smell very sweet. And you can kind of, if you pick one up at the market or whatever, it'll feel a little soft, it'll have a little bit of give to it, and the skin might even be a little red. And when you cut it open and you bite into it, you're gonna notice it should be very juicy and slightly fibrous. The texture is often compared to a combination of cantaloupe and avocado. Now, although their peak harvest season is between March and June, you can find the mango in Costa Rica all year long. The next spot on our list goes to a traditional Latin America dish called picadillo. The name picadillo comes from the Spanish word picar, meaning to mince. But this to mince makes sense because when you see it in front of you, it almost resembles a plated shellless taco filling. It's usually made with ground beef and tomatoes, but other ingredients you might find in there include potatoes, chayote, peppers, onions, herbs, and spices. Now, if you're reading a menu, you're sitting down at a table or something, and you see this, the name of the dish is gonna change a little bit based on the main ingredient that's used. So for example, if the picadillo has potatoes in it, you might see it written as picadillo de papa. Or if you see it with the chayote in it, you might see picadillo de chayote. This dish is almost always served with a tortilla for scooping or some rice for soaking up the juices. Let's move on. Hey Mom, did Santa come? Oh wait, it's not Christmas, but it feels like it. It feels like Christmas morning every time you unwrap the next item on our list. It goes to the Costa Rican tamale. Tamales are a piece of Mesoamerican culinary history, and they've been around forever. There's records that trace them back all the way to 8000 BC. Now, if eating a tamale in Costa Rica, you would have to start by unwrapping a banana leaf, which acts as both cooking hardware and seasoning to the hidden gem that's wrapped up inside. But what's inside? Glad you asked. Inside you will find a steamed corn flour dough, flavored with a variety of meats and peppers and onions and cheeses, or even fruit. Now sometimes for these, I don't know what they taste like because I've never had one before, and I've had tamales, but only ones that have been wrapped in corn husks. I've never had one wrapped in banana leaves. I've never been to Costa Rica, planning in the next 2 weeks from filming this video to live it up. So I had to Google it. What do tamales in Costa Rica taste like? These are some of the answers that I found. One answer was, heaven, son. Another response that I found was, yeah, they're good, bro. And then another great one that I found was, corn and sunshine and the inside of a happy person's mouth. The people have spoken, and I believe them. Coming in hot, your cup of joe. Why not enjoy your morning coffee on the side of a volcano or in the middle of the rainforest? Costa Rica and coffee go together just as much, if not more, than the Caribbean and rum. Coffee is the bitter and acidic drink that a lot of us consume to get us going in the morning or keep us up at night. And the drink's delicious flavor and more than normal caffeine levels is what keeps everybody going back for more day after 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 day. And coffee is a cooked drink. Yes, cooked. And what gives many people the energy to get through the day starts with a little red berry. These berries are picked in Costa Rica. They're picked off the coffee trees. The steps in the coffee making process are as followed. Step 1, those red berries are de-seeded. Now they're known as green coffee. Step 2, these green coffee beans are what gets roasted. Step 3, the coffee gets ground up to the desired consistency for the coffee making vessel that you would like to use. Step 4, the coffee is then brewed in either hot or cold water. Step 5, drink the coffee. Ooh, baristas and the general public go crazy for Costa Rica coffee beans because of their brown sugar, citrus, fruity flavor that the country's crop produces. When in Costa Rica, drink coffee. The next spot on our list goes to a libation called Guaro. Popular in Latin America, this spirit is very similar to rum. It's similar because it's produced from the same plant. They're both distilled from sugarcane juice. However, Guaro is going to be slightly sweeter than rum with a little bit less alcohol. Guaro is usually found at a 30% alcohol level, where rum would be found at around 40%. Now, there's only one legal Guaro brand in Costa Rica, and that is Cacique Guaro. Keep your eyes open. A couple common Guaro cocktails that one might run into are chili Guaro, which is a shot of Guaro mixed with tomato juice, Tabasco sauce, lime, and it's rimmed with salt and pepper. In my head, I'm thinking mini Bloody Mary shot, but with Guaro instead of vodka. Number 2, you might also see a drink called the Guaro Sour, which would be similar to your daiquiri, your margarita, your whiskey sour, but made with Guaro instead. Think Guaro, lime juice, sugar. Number 4 goes to Patakones. Usually served as a side dish, these twice fried plantains visually resemble a latke, just with plantain instead of grated potato. When making these, using underripe plantains is crucial because you would end up with patakones that don't really hold their shape with too ripe of a fruit. The history on this one's a little blurry. Many islands in the Caribbean compete with many countries in Latin America to be recognized as the original birthplace for patakones. But Costa Rica is a nice middle ground because it has a lot of Caribbean influence and it's definitely a Latin American country. Who knows where they're from? Could be anywhere. These are more often found served as a side dish a couple different ways. They can be crispy, almost like a potato chip, or a softer, circular version of a plantain French fry. Best way I can describe it. Now let's think a little bit before these are fried. What's a plantain? When somebody sees a plantain, they might think of it tasting very similar to a banana. And although they do have a slight banana taste to them, they're more often compared to a potato in the culinary world. Number 3. The number 3 spot on our list goes to ceviche. Ceviche is a seafood dish that's kind of cooked, but also kind of isn't. But whatever it is, it's made from fresh seafood and is proud of it. Preparation goes like this. Cube up a couple pieces of fish, let those cubes take an acidic bath in a combination of citrus juices and other ingredients. While sitting in the juice, it'll act as both a marinade while denaturing the fish's proteins. And this denaturing of the proteins is kind of why ceviche could be considered cooked. By definition, for something to be cooked, the application of heat needs to be present. There's no heat here. But when you do apply heat to some sort of a meat, the heat denatures the proteins, and that is one of the big things in the cooking process. Something gets cooked when its proteins are denatured. So even though ceviche isn't technically cooked, you're not really eating raw fish. Lemon and lime juice are the most common citrus juice bases for making ceviche, but you might want to throw a couple extra things in there for some added flavor. In Costa Rica, those things might include salt, pepper, onions, cilantro, peppers, different herbs, and different spices. And commonly used fish that you might find in ceviche would be tilapia, maki-maki, shark, or marlin. And the dish is normally served with crackers or plantain chips on the side for some easier scoopage. I'm pretty sure that cannibalism isn't too common in Costa Rica. But it is kind of suspicious because the number 2 spot goes to a dish that translates to the married man. And everybody says to eat it. You should eat the married man. The number 2 spot goes to a meal called Casato. I doubt that anybody in Costa Rica is eating other human beings, but there's always that one guy. Don't be that guy, especially if you're visiting. Now, a Casato isn't a singular thing like Patakones or mangoes. Rather, it's an entire meal, a plate with a variety of different foods. It's reminiscent of what a married man's wife would prepare for him for dinner. Generally, the plate will include some kind of meat, chicken, pork, beef, or fish, rice and beans, some plantains or patakones, maybe a salad, and maybe some tortillas. But since this is a very home-style, down-to-earth kind of a meal, I'm sure the plate will include anything that's available. Casato is a holistic representation of Costa Rica, as it touches on the country's gastronomy, demographic history, and culture, and it pays tribute to everybody that made the country the great spot that it is today. Last but not least, the number 1 food recommended by those in Costa Rica goes to Gaio Pinto. Gaio Pinto is a traditional dish of Central America and the national dish of Costa Rica. At first glance, Gallo Pinto might just look like a pile of rice and beans, but to ticos and visitors, it's much more. This is one of those all-day kinds of food where it's appropriate to eat for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and it should always be served hot. Now, it's a mixture of a few things, not just rice and beans. For flavor, you'll get some cut up peppers, onion and garlic, and probably a healthy amount of that Lizano sauce. And when you head more towards the Caribbean coast of Costa Rica, you'll find the addition of coconut milk in there, making it a little bit creamier. And now, even though the coconut milk is found on the Caribbean coast, I have a feeling that no 2 Gallo Pintos are gonna be exactly the same, and it's gonna vary based on region, household, and restaurant. The name Gallo Pinto translates to spotted rooster, and I'm not really sure why, except for the fact that it looks speckled. I mean, when you look at it on a plate, it's a light colored rice with dark beans. It looks speckled. I'm not exactly sure where this name came from. If you know, please let us know. I'm sure there's other people that are curious as well. The history here for this dish is semi-controversial, as both Costa Rica and Nicaragua claim to be the founding country of the dish. It's presumed that this dish came to fruition when Christopher Columbus found Costa Rica. Gallo Pinto has roots in a lot of different cultures. The beans in the dish are attributed to the indigenous people of Costa Rica and Central America. The rice is said to be a contribution from the Spanish, who got it from nearby Arab countries by Spain. And then the cooking techniques and the flavoring are said to have come from African slaves who came over with the Spanish, because they were the ones that were doing most of the cooking. When you think Gallo Pinto, most will think Costa Rican, but there's also Spanish, Arab, and African roots in there as well. Wherever the roots for this dish come from, it is still 100% Costa Rican. Well, there you have it, guys, the top 10 foods for Costa Rica. I hope you enjoyed this. If there's anything that we can do to help you with your next adventure, please let us know in the comments below. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, where I'm doing some silly things with a naked action figure. And if you got any value out of this video, please like and subscribe. I check a couple times a day and I get really excited when we have some action on here. Like I said, if there's anything that we can do different or in addition to what we're already doing to help you in your journeys, please let us know. We want to be there for you.